Sit quietly, close your eyes. Bring your attention to the heart. And with the light in our heart, let us just make a little invocation mentally, silently to the Ramayana so that we can enter the Kishkinda chapter. And in entering Kishkinda, we'll meet Hanuman for the first time. Hanuman as a messenger, as a diplomat, is not yet the Bhakta. So chant Om 3 times. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. So the last time we finished the Aranya Khanda and we saw Rama and Lakshmana going after meeting Shabari, and then they started walking towards Kishkinda, where they were told that there is a monkey there that will help them out to find Sita. And this monkey's name was Sugriva. So as these two brothers were walking around, they were walking, and from the top of a hill, somebody said, look, that is the Rishyamukh mountain where you can see them. So as they were walking, Sugriva, who was a monkey chief, the monkey king, was looking from on top of the hill. And he saw these two brothers and he got scared. Why he was scared was he was always running away from his elder brother Vali. Because Vali had said once that he would kill him if he got him in his hands. What happened was, at one time, Vali was challenged to a fight by a demon called Maya. And Vali took the challenge, and he, along with Sugriva, went to have a fight, and the ogre vanished into a cave. So Vali told Sugriva, you hang around at the mouth of the cave, I'll go inside and I'll fight. If by any chance I don't come back by the end of the year, you go back to Kishkinda, to the kingdom, and tell people that I must be dead. So Vali sat there for a whole year, and he waited and waited and waited. And then suddenly what happened was, after a whole year, he heard some terrible sounds coming from inside, like some few people were being killed or something. And then he saw blood pouring out of the cave, and he said, oh my God, that means my brother Vali must be dead. So what he does is he takes a huge boulder and closes the mouth of the cave, goes back to Kishkinda, and he tells the ministers and people there, this is what happened. I was waiting for a whole year and he didn't come back. And then I was scared because I saw blood and some muscle bits and some froth coming out, and there was some blood curdling sounds from inside. I thought my brother must be dead, so I've come back. I didn't know what else to do. So the ministers discuss among themselves, and between themselves, they think maybe Vali would be dead, because otherwise he would have come out by now. So then they tell him that we'll crown you the king, because a kingdom cannot be without a king. It needs to be protected. and they crown Sugriva as the king. Now what happens is, within a few days, Vali comes running out to Kishkinda and he accosts Sugriva and he says, "How dare you come back and sit where I'm supposed to be sitting? You're a treacherer. You closed the hole in the rock because you wanted me to die and you wanted to take over my kingdom." Now, Sugriva said, "That's not true." He said, "I'm sorry. I thought you were dead and I didn't know what else to do. I came back. I didn't want the kingdom. But the minister said I should be crowned because there has to be some protector. And on my own," he said, "I'm not really keen. But he said, now that you've come back, let's forget everything. Come and take your kingdom. And I'll work with you as your aide, like an assistant." But Vali wouldn't hear of it at all. He was very, very angry. And he was always a little impulsive. He would never stand to ask why. So he got into a real fury and he said to Sugriva, he said, "Don't try to sweet talk me. I know what you have done and I know why you've done it. So either you run away from here or I'm going to kill you right now." So no matter what Sugriva did, Vali went trying to kill him. So Sugriva ran. So what happened? For years, Sugriva kept running from one place to another, because Vali was always behind him. And Tulsidas says here, Tulsidas is the one who wrote the Ramayana in Hindi. And he says it's just like Sugriva was the vital force, the prana, and Vali was the action, because wherever the prana goes, the action follows it. And he says it's like a person and his karma. Wherever a person runs, however far you run, your karma will keep following you continuously. So it was like this until Sugriva went to Matanga Muni's hermitage. You remember Matanga Muni, Shabari's guru. And he went there and he saw there was a skull and a skeleton there. And somebody told him that you can stay here, because by then Matanga Muni was left the body. But someone told him you can stay here because so long as the skull is here, Vali cannot come. So when he inquired, they said that Vali on one occasion fought with this Maya Asura, this Maya whom he followed into the cave. His elder brother was called Dundubi. And he followed, Dundubi came and said, "You killed my brother, you come and fight with me." So Vali, being very strong, he killed Dundubi. And because he was so proud of the way he killed him, he gave the body a kick. And the body went and landed in Matanga Muni's ashram. And Matanga Muni at that time was just walking around, and this body with the blood and everything came and fell on him. So he was quite annoyed, naturally. He was a rishi. And he said, whoever did this, if he ever comes this side into my hermitage, he will be killed. He will die by himself. But that was his anger, he cursed the person. So Vali knew that he could never enter the hermitage, he might die. So what he did was he took that, the dead body, and he came a little near the gate, left it there, and he ran back. So this was the only place that Sugriva and his friends could stay safely. So when Sugriva was running all over the place, he was accompanied by another 4 friends, one of them being Hanuman. 5 of them were staying together on this, near this hermitage, in a cave in the Rishyamukh mountain, which was all within the hermitage area. So they knew that Vali couldn't attack them there. Occasionally, when Sugriva thought that Vali was sleeping or something, he would take a little walk around that side. And one of these days, when he was taking this walk, he looked down and he saw these 2 brothers walking along. So he got scared when he saw them, and he called Hanuman and he said, "Look, there are two good looking people walking. They look like ascetics because they are dressed like that, but the forehead and everything makes them look as if they are princes. They have that nobility on them. This is something very suspicious because I'm sure Vali would have sent them to snoop around and find out where I am." So he said, "I'm scared, I can't go down. And if I go down, if it is Vali's chaps, Vali will come out and kill me. So can you quietly go down as my representative and find out what these two boys are up to? But don't go fight them or confront them, because if it happens to be Vali's um, allies, then they will have other monkeys around there and they will attack you. Just go pleasantly." And so Hanuman went. Now, Valmiki says you've got to see Hanuman. There are three types of ambassadors: Uttama, Madhyama, and the lower type. The lowest type is where the king sends the ambassador to the other country and he says, "Do such and such a thing." So this person will go, he'll go say what he was told to say, and he'll come back. That is the lowest type. The middle type is they'll go there, they'll say what has to be said, and they'll wait for a reply and come back. The Uttama, the best type of ambassador, knows the spirit of what his king says, not just the written words. So he'll go there and he'll accomplish part of the job of the king, not just giving a message. So Hanuman was that sort of an ambassador, and they say that Rama learned how to be an ambassador from Hanuman, because in the next avatar, when he comes as Krishna, he will go as an ambassador to the Kaurava court to make peace. And they say that even he didn't succeed as well as Hanuman succeeded. Krishna didn't succeed because the war came about. Whereas Hanuman was able to do everything and bring back Sita also. So they say sometimes the messenger is greater than the avatar itself. So later on you will find that Sundar Kand is all about the greatness of the glory of Hanuman as a bhakta, which seems to be in this greater than the glory of the avatar itself. So Hanuman then goes there and he thinks to himself, now if I go as a monkey, they are not going to be impressed with me. They may not even listen to what I'm saying. So let me disguise myself as a Brahmin boy, young boy, and go. So he goes there disguised as a young Brahmin boy, and he meets Rama, and Rama is wondering who this young man is. He looks, his tejas is there. Tejas means there's a light shining out of him. So he comes like a recluse, and then he speaks to them, and first he offers them homage in the way of the scriptural rules. He speaks like as if he's a scholar, you know what to say and how to say. So he tells them, he says, if I tell them who are you and what are you doing here, they might feel offended. So he starts talking to them nicely. He says, you people, you two of you, you seem to have unfailing power, very austere vows, and excellent appearance. But at the same time, you resemble royal sages or gods. And you're scaring the deer that are around. So he's saying nice things to them and saying this also on the side. And he says, who are you with so much fortitude and you're dressed like a sannyasi, but you're sighing and causing discomfort to all these animals around because they are looking scared of you. but you have wonderful bows and arrows and swords, which are not usually worn by renunciates. And then he tells them, this whole of Rishyamukha is shining because of your luminosity. And then he says, how come you're not telling me who you are, even though I'm being so nice and pleasant to you? So Rama listens to this and he tells Lakshmana, he said, somebody who has a minister like this can never fail in his whatever he sets out to do, because this person, I don't know who he is, but he seems extremely well versed in the Vedas, the Rig Veda. He has the memory of the Yajur Veda, and his voice is modulated and gentle like the Samaveda music. Because actually, Hanuman was a musician also. He has composed the same few ragas. So he says, I wonder who this person is. And he tells Lakshmana, you find out who he is. Because he's the king and Lakshmana is his ambassador, so to speak. You know, king speaks only to the king. They have these protocols and they followed it. So then um, the Hanuman then asks Rama, why are you here? So then Lakshmana tells Hanuman this whole story of how Dasharatha was a king and his eldest son was Rama. And Rama is well known for his glory in fighting and all that, and how he was sent in exile to the forest, and how his wife got stolen. And we are looking for a person called Sugriva, because we were told that Sugriva will help us. So immediately Hanuman realized that they were actually looking for Hanuman, and this was a fact because Hanuman was very good in understanding body language. So he knew they were really authentic. He could see the face, facial expression, and the stance that they had, the voice, and then he knew they were not telling lies. So what he did was, he says that uh, we have nothing else here. We are just, by ourselves. No, we are poor in that sense, and we are waiting for Sugriva to help us. Now Hanuman thought to himself, Sugriva has been chased out by Vali, so he's lost his kingdom just like Rama, and Sugriva's wife has been taken by Vali. So he says they're going through a similar sort of situation. So he is thinking on behalf of his king Sugriva. So he thinks it will be a good thing if Sugriva makes an alliance with Rama and Lakshmana, because being on the same boat, they will be helpful to each other. So what does he say? He says, I'm coming from Rama himself, from Sugriva himself. And Sugriva asked me to meet you and make an alliance with you. He says that he will help you find your wife also. Now, Sugriva hasn't said anything about that to Hanuman. And Sugriva doesn't know about any of this. But Hanuman says all this to show how he is an Uttama ambassador, keeping the king's needs in mind. He thinks to himself, if I delay it too long, they might lose heart and go away. So now that they are searching for an alliance, let me make this alliance right now. So he says, let's go to Sugriva and then I'll talk to him about it. I'm sure he'll be very happy to make an alliance with you and to get back Sita. So this Rama hugs Hanuman there and he says, I love you more than I love Lakshmana also. And Lakshmana is feeling a little put off, because he thinks, here am I sitting with him for 13 years, looking after him morning and night, not sleeping. And this chap comes out of nowhere, just has a word with him. And he says he loves him more than me. And Rama knows that this is what Lakshmana is thinking. So he smiles to himself. So he said, now how will we go? So he says, why don't you ask Sugriva to come down? But Hanuman says that wouldn't be very effective, because I want you to come and meet Sugriva, because then the value of your coming will be known by Sugriva. Otherwise, he might feel that he is entitled because he has come down all the way. So I would like you to come. Rama says, I don't mind, but I don't think I can walk so far. It's too much for me. I'm tired. So Hanuman says, that's no problem. I've brought your vehicle along. I'll take you in the vehicle. So they are wondering where this vehicle is. So he says, sit on my back, both of you, and I'll take you both there. So Rama says, Lakshmana says, I'm a little worried about sitting on your back because we might fall off. Why don't we sit in front in your lap so that we can hold on to you, and if we fall, you'll fall with us. So Hanuman says, no. The point is, who sits on a lap? It's only a child sits on the lap of the father or the mother. And you are strangers to me. It will not be appropriate if I hold you in my lap. On the other hand, if you're hanging on to my back, you will also be careful that you don't lose your grip, otherwise you will fall down. So I'd rather have you coming along on my back. So they say yes, and then he carries them on his back, two of them, and then he goes to Sugriva. Now, going to Sugriva, he explained to Sugriva that this is, Dasharatha and his son Rama, who is well known, and he's lost his wife and is searching for his wife. And he tells Sugriva, Rama wants to make an alliance with you. And Sugriva is sort of quite happy because he sees Rama, and everyone has apparently heard of Rama there. So Sugriva puts out his hand to shake and make friends. Rama holds the hand and hugs him also. And then Sugriva is feeling very pleased, and Rama says, I would like to help you get back your kingdom because I've heard about Vali and the fact that he has stolen away your wife Ruma. So I want to help you to do that. So Sugriva says, if you help me to do that, then I will help you to find Sita. Now, the commentator there says, look at God as Rama, unconditional love. He says, I'll help you. He doesn't say, okay, you find my wife, then I'll do it. But Sugriva says, you find my wife, then I'll find your wife. So this is how we are as human beings. We want to get something from God. We'll say, oh God, help me with this corona, and then I'll come every day to church or whatever like that. But God doesn't say that. He says, I'll help you, and that's it. So anyway, Hanuman quickly creates a fire there because taking the fire as the witness is such a sacred aspect. It's your whole soul's aspiration, your sankalpa shakti sort of. So anybody who does that, they won't go back from their promise. And then Rama and Sugriva go around the fire 3 times and swear friendship to each other. And then Rama says, now what shall we do? Because I just want to know how you will be able to help me with Sita. So Sugriva says, actually one day we were 5 of us sitting on the top of a hill, and we saw a very beautiful girl being carried away by an ogre called Ravana, and she was crying out, Rama, Lakshmana, help, help. And she dropped a cloth with her jewelry down. So I've still kept it very carefully. So if you want to see it, you can see it. And if it is Sita's, then you'll be able to recognize. So Rama is in a hurry. He says, please get it. We want to see it. So when he brings all that jewelry which Sita has put down, then he looks at each part of the jewelry and then he starts crying for Sita. He says, this was what her father gave her. This was what I gave her at such and such a time. And this is what we laughed about one day. All these stories. And he says, Lakshmana, see, isn't this Sita's jewelry? And Lakshmana says, actually, I don't identify any of these because I've never looked up at Sita. Every morning I would bow down to her and I saw her anklets. But these are her anklets. This I can recognize. Nothing else I can recognize. So Rama is very surprised. Then he says, so anyway, they know that this is Sita's. And then he um, starts crying a bit. Crying meaning, saying, see what has happened, and I'm missing Sita, and God knows how she's suffering there, and stuff like that. And Sugriva tells him, it is very hard to be separated from your spouse, I understand. But he says, you shouldn't abandon propriety. He's telling Rama. And you have to restrain your tears and you have to be resolute, because if you start coming to grief like that, what happens to the rest of the people around you? They'll feel demoralized. And it's natural for people in a crisis, which could be a family problem, it could be a financial problem, it could be an illness, anything you feel like ending your life. But if you're going to talk about it and be weak like this, then it's like having a going in a boat with a weight in it and it'll go down. So you ought to pull up your courage and not break down at every point like this. So immediately Rama pulls himself up and then he says, don't worry, I will kill Vali as soon as you start fighting. You go call him and come for a fight, and I'll kill him. So at that time, while they are talking, a little flower from the tree falls on Rama's shoulders and it turns red, his shoulders. So Sugriva is thinking to himself, this chap is so sensitive and so soft and delicate that just a flower falling on his shoulders makes it become red. How is he going to go and have a fight with Vali? Because Vali is supposed to be very bold. So he tells Rama, all that is okay. I believe you. I'm sure you're very well intentioned and all that, but I wouldn't feel happy enough unless you show me some proof of your valor. And he says, here is Dundubi's skeleton. If you're willing to give it a kick with your toe, big toe, and if it goes so many miles, then I'll think you've got some power. So he gives it a kick with his toe and it goes so many miles. So Sugriva is still not convinced. He says all that is okay, but when um, when Vali kicked it, there was flesh and blood and skin and all on it. So it was heavier. Now it's a ossified skeleton. So it's much lighter. So I'm not really convinced. You look at this tree, he said, one time Vali shot one arrow and he brought that whole tree down. This has grown in its stead. Now that is a sort of strength I want to see. So Rama takes out his bow. He said, I'll show you. So he shoots an arrow which goes through 7 trees at one shot. And all the trees fall down. Then the arrow comes back, goes into because of the momentum, goes into the earth, and then it comes back and goes into Rama's quiver. So Sugriva thinks, okay, this man is quite, I mean, you can trust him and his valor. So he says, shall I call Vali? So he says, yes, go ahead and call Vali. So he goes and shouts for Vali. And Vali comes striding out because he's really annoyed because his chap is calling him to fight. And he fights. And Rama is looking at Sugriva and Vali fighting. And he's thinking to himself, they look just the same. They're so identical. Supposing I shoot the wrong chap by mistake. If I shoot without knowing who's who and I kill Sugriva, that'll be the end of it all. So he says, let me just wait a minute. So meanwhile, Vali gives Sugriva a nice good thumping and Sugriva comes back. And he's very upset with Rama. He says, how could you do this to me? If you couldn't shoot him, you could have told me right in the beginning. I wouldn't have got into the fight. I trusted you and I went in. So Rama says to him, I couldn't help it because both of you looked so identical and I was afraid of shooting the wrong person. Next time you go and call him, let me get some identity. So he tells Lakshmana, go get a flower. All the flowers come in a bunch like that because in the forest. So I said, get a big bow and we'll make a garland for Sugriva and let him wear the garland and we'll see the difference. You'll know immediately. And Lakshmana goes, makes this garland and he puts it on Sugriva, and Sugriva suddenly starts preening. He says, don't I look handsome with it? And Rama tells him, of course you look handsome. After all, the garland was made by my dear Lakshmana here. It has to look nice on you. The reason Rama says that is when uh, Sugriva meets Rama and Lakshmana first, when Hanuman brings them, he quickly offers a seat for Rama. He ignores Lakshmana. He thinks it must be just another aide or something like that. It was Hanuman who makes a seat and asks Lakshmana to sit. And he wanted to give that importance that Lakshmana had to Sugriva, so he would know where he stood. So this was his indirect way of conveying that message. Just like when uh, Hanuman carried Rama and Lakshmana on his back and brought them, then Lakshmana is thinking to himself, he's an incarnation of that serpent on which Vishnu lies down, Adisesha. So he mentally tells Rama, now I know why you love him more than you love me, because you alone lay down on that serpent bed that I was, and I held you. But here is this chap who's taking both of us along on his back. So apparently he's far more bhakti in him, that karma seva aspect. And also he has the strength and the capacity to do it. So this is how Rama will teach little lessons in his gentle way. If you see Krishna avatar, Krishna will do something tricky and he'll make everybody know jolly well that I'm in charge here. Whereas Rama is much more gentle that way. So they go back and when they go back, Sugriva goes to Vali's kingdom and he stands outside the gate and he yells in a thunderous roar. He said, come back and fight with me. And it's the middle of the night almost, and Vali is with the women folk in the bedroom. So he gets up because he can be easily provoked to anger, you see. He said, how dare this stuff? I just defeated him and came back, and again he is shouting. So his wife Tara, Vali's wife Tara is supposed to be a very intelligent woman and one of the 8 women who are known for their wisdom. So she comes to Vali and she tells him, don't get upset if I tell you something. I'm not saying it to bring you down. I'm just, because I care for you, I want to tell you something. She says, don't go and fight with Sugriva because you just defeated him and came back. Now, again, if he is coming after all that and roaring like that and asking you to come back for a fight, I know that it can't be just him alone. He's got some alliance with somebody. And then she says, yesterday I heard a spy talking to Angada, that is Vali's son, and he was telling him there are 2 princesses, Rama and Lakshmana, from Ayodhya, and they are very powerful. In fact, when Rama strings his bow, it is like the Rudra, the angry Shiva coming out with fire. It's like that, people say. And he being that way, I wouldn't like you to go in the middle of the night now that you're half intoxicated, because he was relaxing and having a good time. And supposing something happens to you, then it wouldn't be nice. Then she says, I feel that you should make friends with Sugriva, because after all, he's your brother. And you did treat him badly at one time, because he made a mistake that he didn't really mean to hurt you. And he is the best friend you can ever have. So if you bring him back and you get him to make friends with you and you continue as the king, he'll be a very understanding brother. He'll be your greatest strength because you won't have another friend like him. This is what I would like you to do. So he is angry. So he says, I know you're saying good things, Tara. I'm not angry with you, but at the same time, if you allow your enemy to walk into your house, and start yelling and saying that he's going to fight you and kill you, and then you let inside, which king is going to respect you? It just means you're dumb if you do something like that. So I can't let Sugriva get away with it. Don't worry, I won't kill him. I'll give him a nice good thumping so he'll know who is powerful of us. So Vali goes out to fight, and Vali and Sugriva got into a fight. Both of them are equal and both are very, very powerful. The way they punch each other, the trees around them that they touch fall down and all that. But Sugriva is distracted because what he does is every time he fights with Vali, he is looking around for Rama. You know, I hope he's guarding my back, that sort of thing. So, so Tulsidas says, whatever you are doing in the world, whatever battles you're facing in your family, outside, everywhere, constantly keep watching out for the Paramatma, for God, whether he is there, because he will be there guarding you. But if you don't see him, you will miss out. So Sugriva keeps looking around like this, and then Rama sees him looking. He says, okay, this chap is now really getting weak and vulnerable. So he shoots one arrow that goes and pierces uh, Vali's chest, and Vali falls down. Doesn't die, he just falls down. But he is very, very weak because this very sharp arrow. And Vali is very hurt that Rama should strike him from behind a tree, hidden, when the rules of the war games are, when two people are fighting, a third person doesn't enter. We have that sort of thing here. I don't know if you have it there. If you have a husband and wife quarreling, even if you have the best intentions, they'll tell you don't micromanage. So, so these two people, they fought, and Vali falls down, and he is trembling because it's very painful, and he knows he's going to die. So he is angry also with Rama. So he asks Rama, he says, it's okay, you killed me. Someday I would have to go, like someday you also have to go. But tell me, um, why did you have to stand behind the tree and shot me in such a stealthy way? Okay. And then he asked him a few questions. He asks Rama, and I'm going to tell you these questions. Vali has a gold chain on his neck that has been given to him by his father Indra. And so long as he has that golden chain, the goddess of success will be Durga, will always be with him, and he will never lose in any fight, generally. So this chain is on his neck, so he doesn't die, they say. Because the arrow pierces him, his vital energy remains. The Pancha Mahabhutas remain with the physical body. He's just on the way, but not yet dead. So Vali asks him, he says, Rama, he says, people say Rama is of noble birth. He's righteous, compassionate, he's truthful, he has valor. And when somebody does evil, he would punish them. Now, I believed you had all these virtues because Tara warned me about it. Not to go to battle with Sugriva because you were present. But I never committed any sin against you or your capital or your kingdom, he says. Nor was I hostile to you. How did you stoop so low, he's asking Rama, to strike me when I was fighting with somebody else? It's all against the laws of war. Then he says, you're a king's son. You're known to be a king's son. You have sacred knowledge. You know Shreyas and Prayas. You know Shreyas is what you want, your convenience and your desire, and Prayas is what is right. Now you're born in Raghu's lineage. Raghu was well known to be a great warrior and very righteous. So he said, so he is sort of like sarcastically saying that to him. So it will hit Rama because he calls himself the Raghunandan. That is the favorite of Raghu, his ancestor. So he says, and then on top of that, you dress like an ascetic. And then you give a gentle external image when inside actually you're so cruel. Then he says, we are beasts of the forest, monkeys. We eat fruits and nuts, whereas people like you in the urban areas, you cook food. So it's not as though there is a scarcity of food and there is a competition with us. So you don't have to fight for food with me. So that is no excuse either. Then he says, usually people fight over land or gold or silver or even a woman. But we don't have gold and silver in the forests, neither land, and you're not interested in any woman. And then, but you acted dominated by fickleness and a desire. You're irresponsible because you just fire your arrows anywhere you feel like. You're not thought about it seriously. And if you do this, I might die, but when you go back to the meeting the rishis and other holy people, what will you say in your defense if they ask you, how come you did this? Then he says, killing a king, a Brahmin, a cow, a thief, or an unbeliever, when you kill any of these people, you will go to hell. That is what the Shastra says. This is what Bali is saying. Also, he says, if you kill an informer, a miser, or a slayer of one's own friend, then you will go to hell. Now, I'm not even related to you. Why would you kill me? Then he says, among those that can be eaten, because you're non-vegetarian, being a Kshatriya, king's race, the most exotic things you could eat are rhinoceros, porcupine, iguana, and the turtle. Even there, nobody likes to eat anything belonging to a monkey, like monkey's skin, monkey's teeth, monkey's bones. Nothing is supposed to be